Hi, folks. I think we hear me, eh? Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here at the Incubate North program launch for Yukon University's Innovation Entrepreneurship Team program. My name is Lauren Manikin-Bay, and I'm part of the Innovation Entrepreneurship Team down in Northlight Innovation, the only community hub, innovation hub north of 60. We are virtual, unfortunately, but if we had not been virtual, had we not been virtual, we wouldn't be able to have folks from Mexico and Silicon Valley and France and Baltimore being able to participate in this. But for those of you that aren't here, or those of you that are, we are so blessed to be on the traditional territories of the Kwanlin Dun First Nation people and the T'Anquichin Council. Without them sharing their land, we would never be able to do this amazing work here. So thank you very much to those people. You are all players that have made this program what it has been and what it is about to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been invited to this event. It's an incredible opportunity to be intimate with a program, the businesses in the program, to take advantage of our amazing network and these guest speakers that you see. And by the end of this, we really hope that you want to stay even more connected to these businesses, to I&E, and the work that we do for Yukoners. Our colleague Heather has taken you down the hall to see our space and then just to check out the Incubate North businesses. But Incubate North became an obsession for the Innovation Entrepreneurship Team and our partners at YukonStruct 4 years ago when Jason Rayner from the government of Yukon came in and said, we're about to do this. So fast forward, add dozens and dozens of co-conspirers all over North America, including Toronto-based wizards Valerie Fox and Petra Kasun-Mach, who build incubators all over the world. Insert TD Bank and their game-changing sponsorship, and sprinkle the idea with 5 of Yukon's most promising young enterprises. And here we are today with 65 of you, although 94 have responded that they were coming into the game. So there comes a time in every entrepreneur's world when they're hanging out on a plateau and they see a plateau across the canyon and they need a way to get there. They need co-conspirers to build this suspension bridge with them to bring them to where they're going to go in the future. I&E at YukonU, again, TD Bank, Canor, out front, the Northlight Innovation family, our entrepreneurs in residence, Aprendo, Innovation Entrepreneurship's Advisory Council, and countless others have committed to join us in waking the possibilities of each of these businesses that you're about to meet.
Hello, my name is Ben Pereira and I'm the founder of Neighborly North, which is the Yukon's leading provider of short-term rentals and Whitehorse's largest Airbnb superhost. Locals hire us to manage their fully furnished properties for 3 to 12 months at a time, and today we represent 17 unique locations. We aspire to become the leading provider of short-term rentals in Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Alaska, and to build a brand that represents the very best modern accommodations experience. Since beginning our operations in May 2020, we've served over 400 travelers who have enjoyed our unique offering. I would summarize it as the very best elements of an Airbnb stay combined with the very best elements of a hotel stay, like professional cleaning and on-demand customer service. And aside from giving our guests an excellent space, we also help them to live like a local by showing them the very best cafes, restaurants, hiking spots, and hidden gems that you won't find on TripAdvisor. It is still early innings for Neighborly North, but I can guarantee that the North is going to look very different when we're done with it.
Freeport Jenny's, in Canada's Yukon Territory, is surrounded by boreal forest with its unique ecology, plants, and botanicals. We sustainably harvest some of the great things that grow up here and bottle them as bitters and syrups. So when you open that bottle, wherever you are, you can smell spring, you can taste the spruce tips. Or you can taste fall with its wild cranberries. These products are like extracts of the Yukon in little bottles. Depending on where you are, the ingredients may seem exotic because they're a taste of this beautiful northern place. Perhaps you visited the Yukon, or maybe you will in the future. For now, you can explore its essence in your cocktails or sparkling water. Whether it's tasting the fireweed flowers, cranberries, rose hips, or spruce tips, even if you are somewhere far away, we hope you might be transported to the Yukon with some of these flavors. I know you will enjoy these cocktails with latitude.
Hi, I'm Tanner,
And I'm Miles.
and we're the owners and founders of Yukon Built.
Yukon Built is a clothing and lifestyle brand based here in Whitehorse, offering quality goods and apparel that represent our northern lifestyle.
We are born and raised Yukoners, fourth generation entrepreneurs, and have created a brand that represents a territory we're so proud to be from.
The Yukon has such a unique and special allure, one that draws the imagination of people all over the world. Knowing so, we are building a brand that captures its essence in the products that we offer.
We are super proud to see our clothing being worn on everyone from locals to visitors, newborns to grandparents, strangers to friends, all representing the Yukon in such a community-driven way.
We're excited to continue expanding our product line, building out a brand new retail storefront in downtown Whitehorse this summer, and implementing our growth strategy for expansion outside the Yukon and beyond.
We have goals to be one of the biggest businesses the Yukon has produced, and we're excited to see where we can take it.
Growing food, working the dirt, gardening, landscaping, and generating healthy soils have always been stupendous sources of pride and pleasure. At YukonGrow, we're here to help you build and optimize your grow conditions. Our clients get products such as manure, compost, peat moss, all that are healthy, that are cost-effective, that are locally sourced and eco-friendly. Not to forget our flagship product, biochar. Conveniently order online and choose pickup or delivery in whatever quantity you need. Wondering about soil quality? We're here to support you with personalized testing and advising, whether you're a hobby gardener or have a larger operational project. My name is Michel Dutot. My background is in agriculture and forestry, and I'm a professional biologist with a knack for soil sciences and growing healthy food. Check us out at YukonGrow.com and make sure to like our Facebook page and to sign up on our newsletter to stay in the loop and learn more about how you can make the best of the grow season in the north.
Wised Projects is a Yukon-based social innovation company. We are women-led and impact-driven. We customize adaptive solutions, digital tools, and services. Our growing customer base includes nonprofit organizations, businesses, and governments in the Yukon and beyond. What impact organizations provide is the heart and soul of our communities. We focus on how they function. As a trusted third party, we create solutions to accelerate effectiveness, innovation, and impact. Our business offers an online toolkit with forward-thinking resources, premium features for automation and technology integration, service subscriptions for coaching and planning, and digital tools bringing together governments and nonprofits. As founder, I bring decades of experience in nonprofit management and a passion for building a shared approach in creating thriving communities. Rounding out our team is a blend of young changemakers and industry professionals, combining expertise in people and technology. We are curating for impact.
Team Incubate North, we love you guys. Thank you and congratulations. It takes so much courage and trust to launch yourselves into a program like Incubate North, where we are pushing you and your businesses all the way to your limits and hopefully beyond. We have so intentionally woven together this group of fans, funds, and supports to contribute to your patchwork. You will achieve greatness, And as we've told you before, we're so honored to be part of your journey. I hope that everyone had a chance to watch the pre-event video sent yesterday and today to learn about these 4 friends we're about to bring onto the screen. Wes Moore, Vicki Saunders, Tosh Southwick, and Mike Nielsen, welcome. In 15 minutes, we came up with 30 questions for you all and somehow brought it down to 6. But let's do this. And without further ado, Freeport Jenny, will you take her away, please?
Good morning. I have questions that I would love all of our speakers to answer. What is one thing you would tell your earlier self now, if you could go back and share it? Wes, could you kick us off, please? Then Tosh, Vicki, and then Mike.
Such a great question. And first, hi, everybody. It is so good to see you. It is so good to learn all about your stories and also just see the impact that you're having on the world. Lauren, I absolutely adore you, and I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for you and for the opportunity just to be around genius like this. So bless y'all and thank you. I would say that if there was one piece of advice that I would give my younger self, it's this, is that don't let people that don't matter too much matter too much. And I say that because I feel like sometimes we can get caught up on what this person says or that person says, or this person says about our idea on Twitter, or what this person says about our idea. It's like, why are you giving them that much energy? Why are you giving them that much space? You know, we only have a certain amount of time in a day. We only have a certain amount of mind share. We only have a certain amount of things that we can really pour ourselves into. I think the advice that I would give myself, because I feel like I wasted a lot of time and a lot of energy when I was younger on people and concepts and ideas and critiques that never had my best interest at heart. So why are you spending time on it? Spend your time focusing on the things that give you joy. Spend your time focusing on the people that give you lift. Spend your time on the energy, on the things that make you feel whole. Don't spend time on the things that make you feel incomplete, that make you feel insufficient, because remember, their motivations might not be yours. So don't let people that don't matter too much matter too much, is the advice that I would give.
Thank you so much, Wes. That's awesome advice. I'll pass it on to Tosh, please, to answer the same question.
Thanks. That's hard to follow, Wes. I haven't never met you, but looking forward to doing that one day. Thank you very much. Also, really super excited to be here in this powerhouse room with, what is it now, 76 of you. Joining you today from Whitehorse, traditional territory of the Kwanlin Dun and the Ta'anquichin Council. And my advice to my earlier self would be to trust my gut more. There are 100 different leadership tools out there. There's 100 different pieces of different advice people can give you and different techniques to make decisions. But anytime I've ever gone against my gut, it has taken me down a road I shouldn't have gone. Whether that be my gut reaction on when I first meet people, people's ideas that they have that they want to bring me into, different conversations or different fads. There's always going to be trends. There's always going to be buzzwords. And almost every time I have a gut reaction to that, if I follow it, it seems to go really well. And so I would have said to my younger self, trust your intuition more, trust your gut, listen to that piece. There's a part of you that already knows the answer of which way you should go. And I spent a lot of years trying to listen to what other people thought I should be doing or where I should be putting my energy, and my gut's always done me better than that. So that's my advice to myself. Thanks.
Thank you, Tosh. And moving on to Vicki, please, advice for your earlier self.
Thank you. Hi, Vicki Saunders here from SheEO, and coming to you from the unceded territories of many nations in the Toronto region, the Mississaugas, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat peoples. And I'm also here today because Valerie Fox, who I saw on the call earlier, and Petra Kasunmuch connected me into Lauren the Goddess and got me out there before too. I totally miss all of you up in the Yukon, wish I was there. So first of all, I will start with what I would tell my younger self. First of all, I will just say out loud, I would never have listened to myself, giving myself advice. So this is part of my younger self's issue, right? So I would give this advice, but probably wouldn't listen to it, which is find the others. Really critical to like get in a community of people who lift you up, who've got your back, support you, not a bunch of people who tell you yes when they should be saying no, but really go find your people. It has been a life's journey for me to go find those. I used to like chase the people that had credibility, the people that were the success people, all the things. And to Wes and Tosh's earlier points, it's like following the conditioning that we have that you're supposed to like get in, you know, find those people that are at the top of the game. If they don't match what is inside of you, then you like, I just don't think you can be a leader and follow somebody else. You have to find your own path. And so find the others who lift you up so you can reach your dreams.
Thank you so much, Vicki, for sharing that. And last but not least, Mike, please.
Hey guys, I guess I'm coming to you from the southernmost point, most likely in this webcast. It's Mike Nielsen. I'm here in the Bay Area in California. Thanks again for having me on. You guys have been just amazing throughout the time that I've gotten to know you. The number one thing, and we talk a lot about this in our incubator too, but I would tell myself, you know, failure is always an option. And frankly, it's going to be mandatory. The fear of failure is the thing that you have to get past. And that's the hardest. It was the hardest thing for me to get past personally. And it's something I see in a lot of the younger entrepreneurs that we bring in as well. Just be aware of it, but don't target fixate on it. Set objectives that are aggressive and keep yourself uncomfortable. Because in that discomfort, the magic happens. But also in that discomfort, if you're afraid of failing, then you will naturally gravitate to things that are easier. So keeping yourself out of the comfort zone and focusing on an objective or a North Star, and just not being afraid of not hitting it, because you have to adjust all the time anyway.
Thank you so much to all of you. And I will pass it along now to Miles. He has a question as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Jenny. Miles here from Yukon Built. I do have a question. I'm going to direct this one to both Vicki and Mike, if I could. So obviously for any entrepreneur, their success is dependent on their ability to move past the no. Someone telling them no, someone telling them that they can't do something. So for Vicki and Mike, how do you deal with adversity? And what do you do when people tell you you can't do something? We'll start with you, Vicki, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. This is one of my favorite things. I have built a muscle, and I think a lot of this stuff is like muscle building. You practice and you start and you get better and better at things. But I built a muscle at asking questions around those things. When someone says, I can't do something, I'm like, why not? It's not done that way. What if it was? Well, that's not how it's been done in the past. Well, what if it is in the future? And I'm constantly flipping around the questions. All this stuff is, and plus I'm just, I think, kind of a rebel at heart. Again, trust my intuition super deeply. And if I believe something is a pace, the constraint that comes in front of you is just something to go around. And I often use a water strategy, which is just imagine they're just pebbles, right? You just find your way around them as opposed to like confronting each one of them, because that takes too much energy. So just use your water strategy around those.
That's really great.
Fantastic. Thank you, Vicki. And I'll pass that same question to you, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to riff a little bit off of what Wes was saying earlier. Part of no can be coming from a place of wisdom. So if the person saying no actually has like, the reason I'm saying no, and here's why, and they have valid reasons, like don't go down this path because I think that you're going to hit an obstacle that is insurmountable given what you're telling me, but if you take this path, you can get to your objective faster. So understanding why the no is coming is really, really important. But if in that analysis, the why is something that is either superficial or is energy draining, to Wes's point, then I think you need to park it and not take it internal, not internalize it, and focus on go back to your objective and figure out how you can get to your objective. If there are things that are being brought out and practical advice in the no, that's great. But if it's just a negative energy no, or they don't like it for some reason, you're going to eventually find the person through a lot of no's. And by the way, you're going to get, out of 100 discussions, you're going to get 99 no's if you're raising money, right? So maybe 95. But take the wisdom from the no's and turn them into a yes.
Mike, I got to interrupt. Brother, can you stand up and show everybody your hoodie?
So thank you. My daughter tried to steal it from me, but
oh, and show them the back. Show them the back.
oh, that's right. Right.
There you go. Thank you. We hooked all of our speakers up with Yukon swag. Sorry, Miles, take it back away.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you both for those great answers. That's awesome. And thank you everyone for being on this morning. And now I'll pass it along to Wendy, who's going to ask another question of you all.
Thanks. This is for Tosh and Wes. More than ever, we believe it's critical to lead business with heart. And over the course of the Incubate North program, we'll be exploring the importance of purpose and impact, ensuring that our businesses are telling the story of how we're leading from the soul. Can you share your purpose in your work and share advice on leading with purpose? Let's start with you, Tosh.
Thanks, Wendy. That's a fantastic question and one that's really close to my heart. Yeah, I have two fundamental purposes, not just in my business, but in the work that I do offsite. So boards and committees I choose to participate in and projects I choose to support. The first is to support Indigenous self-determination. I think that purpose for me resonates not in just my mind, but in my heart. I feel my best when I'm moving that forward. My second purpose is in the North, for the North, by the North. I choose what projects I'm going to do. I choose where I'm going to put my energy off of both of those pieces because my heart's into them. And that makes a fundamental difference in my energy level. I don't think I'd be able to do what I could do, working the hours that I work and contributing what I can if it wasn't about my heart. And I think they are part of me because of my background, being a citizen of a self-governing First Nation and coming from one of the largest families in the Yukon. Shout out to all you Chambers Dixons out there. It is, I think, my duty for my nation, the generations that went before me and the generations that are going to come after to make this place a better spot and improve their opportunities just like it was done for me. And so I wake up every morning with that purpose in my mind and my heart. And you know what? Things have been pretty damn cool when I do that. Thanks, Wendy.
Wes?
Hey, oh, sorry. I would say, so first, I think Tasha's answer is not just spot on. I think it very much leads to how I think about what I consider to be my life's work and the thing that keeps it at the forefront of my mind. And that is the fact that I would give everything if we could eliminate poverty from our society. Everything. I think it is beyond inhumane that we will tolerate this level of human pain in other people. I believe it is completely inhumane for the fact that we have children before they even have a choice as to the type of life or existence that they will have, that we are making it for them. I think it's completely inhumane the fact that it shows itself in so many different segments of society, but in so many different ways in which that society exists, from the water we are asking people to drink, to the air we're asking people to breathe, to the schools they are attending, to the transportation assets they have, to how they are policed. In every single way, in every single segment, we show how much we care about other people without saying a word. And I would give everything to fix that. And I think about the thing that I think keeps me motivated and inspired and focused, frankly, is I will consistently and continually surround myself with people who don't just share the same passion points, but frankly, with impacted populations. I don't know how any of us do this work unless we are, and whatever it is, the work that any of us are doing, unless we are repeatedly surrounding ourselves with the people who are most directly going to be impacted and the people who are going to be the greatest beneficiaries of, and the people who have been crying out for measures of change for a very long time, but feel like just people are not hearing them. And I think about that in context of, even for, you know, as whether it's, you know, social entrepreneurs or people who are in a variety of spaces, you know, when we fund or we back things that we think work to address poverty, the idea that we would do it and not actually have impacted populations sounds as ridiculous as someone putting together a product and not having UI and UX, right? It's like someone saying, I'm going to be a social entrepreneur for X product, and say, how many people have actually played with your product? People you're open to sell it to? Nobody. Oh, good luck with that, right? I look at our work in very much the same frame and very much the same way, that what the first ingredient to success is making sure that impacted populations are leading the charge, because they will be the ones who will give you the guidance and all the information that you need in order to make sure that you're making smart and heart-driven and data-led decisions on the ways and how, on the things you want to do and how you want to spend your time. And so for me, my why is clear, and I'm transparent about it. And I think that the way I want to keep on thinking about it and coming up with the solutions that we want to be able to build and fund and support and advocate for is just continually making sure that that populations who we're trying to work with and serve are not just subjects of the conversation, but they are actually part of the conversation.
Thank you so much. I think this is a good question to maybe ask if any of the other panelists want to share their purpose or their why.
I'll go. So yeah, my why, like, I'll just follow along with the same. I'm so really inspired by the previous comments, because I think that we have enough. We have enough for everyone. And we've been told this lie about scarcity, that there's not enough. And we create marketing strategies like 3 more minutes to go, 5 more things to buy. And it's a lie. There is abundance. There is enough for everyone. It's just not evenly distributed. And that's the work that we need to do. We're in a total moment of time of redistributing to make sure that we create a society that benefits all. So I'm deeply committed to that, working on that right now with SheEO. And it gets me out of bed every day to do that.
You know, I had a conversation with my now wife a very long time ago about impact and what it means to make impact. She's a therapist, by the way. That's what she does. She helps people get through pain and suffering and various degrees of anxiety and other things that impact their ability to just live a happy, productive, fruitful life. And at the time I was in startups, and I'm like, hey, we're making people money in venture capital. And like, we had a really healthy discussion, because she's like, oh, but you're changing people's lives in this way. I'm like, no, but I'm not affecting a life. I'm affecting a bank account. It's a very, very different thing, right? So it was actually a pretty telling moment, for at least for me, because I was able to use that as a way to focus the work on, in a very, very small way, right? This is not life-changing for populations. It's certainly not helping impacted populations nearly as much as we'd like to, but in a small way, helping people grow through the process. So like with our incubator in Intel, part of it is, yeah, we want to grow new things and game-changing things for both society and for business. But a big part of it is helping individuals grow and change from where they are and getting them to the next step. And like I said, it's a tiny, tiny thing compared to what we're talking about here, but it brings me a huge amount of joy seeing individuals who may have had a very specific and myopic mindset shift and do something radically different, and do it with energy and enthusiasm and do it well. So again, very small in comparison, but it's really neat to see on that kind of scale.
Thank you all so much for sharing, and now I'll pass it on to Michelle.
This is a question for Wes and Vicki. We all know that life goes by so fast. The pace at which we work as entrepreneurs is driven more by passion than common sense sometimes. Out front, IncubateNorth's advisor coach team places a lot of time and energy talking about work-life balance. This is a concept that we all know about, yet often gets put on the shelf for one day in the future. Can you tell us about your journey with work-life experience, with a work-life balance, living in the present And do you have any advice on how to achieve both? Maybe starting with Vicki.
Sure. So I have so much to say on this. First of all, I don't believe in it. I don't even know what that means, work-life balance. Balance? Like, I think there's something that we're being sold that we have to be some kind of like equilibrium and things. There's always in and out, up and down. Pay attention to it. Too much? Okay, step back. Too little? Okay, get more into it. So I'll start there. The second thing is, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like completely unemployable by anybody else. And the gift of being an entrepreneur is you make the rules. So like I don't know any, well, maybe some entrepreneurs work 9 to 5, but they're definitely not in my crew. So permission to have snow days whenever you want. I know I can say this in the Yukon. I wouldn't be able to say this in Florida. Snow days, they're like the best thing in the whole world. We're like at our team meeting. Do you remember snow days with kids? It would be great to have snow days. I'm like, so have one, take one. Like, we are making up the rules here when you're running your own thing. So stop following all the rules that exist out there that, oh, I have to be at work, it's Tuesday. What if you didn't? What if you could change it? And so for me, I pay a lot of attention to my energy personally. I had a family member who had chronic fatigue syndrome when I was just getting started in my 20s. And so I'm very aware of like a limited amount of energy and being careful with your energy and paying attention to your energy. So I follow my energy. And one of the things I've really learned is people do not want to do great work when they don't want to do great work. So you can't make them. You can't make people do great work when they're burnt out and tired. So give them space, or continue, like have them tell you when they need space and do it. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. I love those insights. Wes, did you have something to add, please?
Yeah, it's I'm actually I'm in listening mode on this because I think I need to come up with a better balance on how to do this. And I love Vicki's answer. When I think about leadership, there's really kind of 4 basic principles that I just try to follow. And I feel like whether it is my time in the military or starting a small business or now running a poverty fighting organization, I feel like they kind of exist throughout, right? And they're 4 basic ones. One is just making sure that you're recruiting and retaining the best and the brightest and the smartest and the most focused people around you. Build a great team, right? Second piece is come up with a unified vision and a unified North Star that you're going to hold people account to and that you can get team buy-in for. The third is let really good people do really good work, and don't micromanage them. Why are you getting really talented people if you're just going to micromanage them? And then the fourth piece is take care of your people. Take care of your people. Nothing in there is about how many hours of work that I want them to work a week. Nothing in there is about which hours that I think are the most productive for the human body. Nothing in there is about, which days are the best days or which seasons are the best seasons to do X, Y, or Z. I feel like everything is about the fact that so much of this stuff is a personal experience for people. And if you really want to take care of your organization, take care of your people. Because the worst thing for an organization is someone who goes 150 miles an hour and then burns out in 4 months. You've done me no good. You've actually put the organization at risk. I need people who are built to run marathons and not just sprints. I need people who understand that the mission that we are trying to accomplish by nature, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's a hard problem because it's still a problem. All the easy stuff has kind of been taken care of already. The reason that you're trying to solve whatever you're trying to solve for is because this is complicated stuff. And it means it's going to take commitment. It's going to take a bit of duration. It's going to take a bit of patience. It's going to take a bit of fortitude. None of those things coincide with burnout. Not one that I just mentioned. And so I think one of the most important things for all of us as managers and leaders that we then have to be able to do and zero in and focus on is if you can really cover down on those principles, particularly that fourth one, take care of your people. Take care of your people. It's the best way that you're doing this, and you're going to make sure you're doing it not just to be, selfless, but you're doing to be selfish, because I want what I'm doing to work. I want what I'm doing to actually make an impact. And the only way that's going to happen is if I can keep a team on the field.
I love this. Anyone else has anything to add? Thanks, Barrett, for your comments. Tosh and Mike?
Yeah, I'll jump in there just to say that, you know, I think my perspective is a little bit different, although I definitely agree with both what Wes and Vicki were saying. I believe there is an important piece there about keeping balance and not overstretching yourself and really focusing on where you put your energy. I also believe, and maybe it's my cultural, the way I was raised, but we need to find those things that ground us and bring us back to those people we are. For me, that's spending time with elders, getting out on the land and going to my cabin. For others, you know, my friend Kelly Proudfoot's probably listening as I say this. For her, it's running and hiking. And I'm not a hiker, because for me, if you're going to hike somewhere, it's to go get a moose or a fish, not just to go walking. But that's what grounds her. You find that thing that fills your soul. And when you do that, you're a better person, which makes you a better leader. And I'm more in tune when I do that. When I ground myself in the fact that my work, you know, my elders will tell many people and have told me that a big part of my success is that my heart and my mouth are very well connected. I can speak very quickly from my heart. But I live for difficult conversations, and that means some days are really hard, and I've had to work really hard to find ways to counteract those tough conversations. The tougher the conversation, the more I enjoy it, but I find it draining. And so I need to find ceremony. I need to find a way to refill that energy that, you know, Vicki was talking about. I think the other piece for me is when you find something you love, there is no differentiation between 9 to 5. You just do it because you love it. You know, I'll wake up at 12 o'clock at night and read a First Nation Final Agreement section or a chapter because I love that. I love Indigenous self-determination. So you know, those are the books that I'm reading. Those are the committees I'm sitting on outside. Those are the articles and or blogs or the podcasts I'm listening to, because they fill my soul anyway. But if I was in a different type of business or I had a different why, I think that would be really challenging, because I'd always be wanting to put my energy over here. So that why that Wes was talking about, for me, I can only move that forward when I have that balance. And sometimes I have to listen really carefully. And sometimes those that are closest to me, my husband will send me a code word and he'll say, we got to get to the cabin, you know, because I'm not at my best. And he picks that up. And so I think it's important to find those pieces that help build you up to be your best.
I think one thing too, do it by example. And Wes already mentioned this, and I was going to build on it. When you're leading people, or not just managing people, but leading people, they're going to follow your lead, right? And if you're not, and whether balance is the right word or not, if you're not grounded and you're not bringing the energy and bringing your game, your team is not going to bring their energy and bring their game. They're going to bring something completely different. So do it by example. I mean, one thing that I did, thank goodness for COVID in this case, was I'm out mountain biking every day. And then I realized I'm not spending enough time with my kids at night because I'm working too much. How about I take my kids mountain biking with me? So my 9-year-old is now doing 2,000-foot climbs. Working that into the schedule and being transparent about it too. It's not that I don't just go offline for an hour. I tell my team it's time to go exercise. And what I found is that now I've got people showing up on calls, and it's kind of like the Blair Witch Project. I'm seeing video jump around as they're, you know, out of their bikes, or they're out of the trail, or whatever it is, but they're out there doing stuff, and the energy levels came up dramatically just in the past few months. It was just so draining being on video all the time, but watching that happen and trying to set the pace for both the expectations of execution, but also in a self-caring way, I was able to see at least a lot of my teams kind of follow along with that, which is great. The other thing too, and I was sorry if I was looking at my phone, but I was looking at my phone. One of our team members was just diagnosed with COVID, and he wasn't in the greatest health to start with. So the discussion in the email, in the text thread was, well, what can we do to help? Can we close out this AR or our action item, whatever? And my answer back was, it can wait. Let the guy get healthy first. We'll revisit the actions, and we'll come back, because he's one of our venture leads. We'll get him funded when he can get out of the hospital. Let's focus on what's important first here. So yeah, just taking care of yourself and setting that example. And to Wes's point, there's no greater wisdom than what Wes said. Take care of your people, because they're never going to forget it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm sorry for your colleague, and I really hope that they're going to find health soon again. Thanks, everyone. On to Tanner, who will have other questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. My question is directed towards Mike and Tosh. With entrepreneurial ventures and life in general, there's always failures. So in IncubateNorth here, we have a gong to celebrate successes, and we've got this horrible little pig to celebrate setbacks and that sort of thing. So Mike and Tosh, I know you touched on this, Mike, but can you tell us a bit about your relationship with failure in your business and your personal life?
Yeah, don't run from it, but don't dwell on it. We refer to it as target fixation. So at least in the venture world down here in the Valley, we spend a lot of time trying to coach our teams to, you're going to do, I guess the analogy is best like in racing, you're going to run over what you're looking at. So if you're on a motorcycle, don't look at the pothole, right? If you're in a venture, don't stare at your competitors' failures. You're going to make your own. So aim for success. But when it happens, run a diagnostic. Never just blow past it. That's one of the things that we try to teach our teams as well, is understand the modality of the failure, and then make sure that you have an understanding of the different inputs that may have caused that failure. And then really understand, was it an execution problem or was it a misalignment with your objective? And those are very, very different things, right? If you say set too aggressive of a goal, and your goal should always be aggressive, but if it's too aggressive and it's unachievable, you'll actually cause yourself more stress because you physically can't get there. So understand like the modality of the failure, and it's, you know, it happens all the time. And my biggest failure, it's actually, it was in my interview when I was talking to our senior vice president when I was coming in. He's like, what was your biggest mistake in your career? I'm like, oh, where do you want to start? There's so many. But my biggest one was, I believe in something so passionately, and it was a business that we had at the previous company. We believed it was transformational. We believed that we'd be able to fundamentally transform the company. And this is a Fortune 50 company in doing so. But we knew that we were up against headwinds that we would either win through just sheer force of will, or the customers would prove us right and vindicate us in the long term. But my biggest learning from that, because it exploded, right? We won. We got a couple $100 million in contracts, and we're building a long-term viable business. But at the end of the day, it continued to be misaligned, and it didn't have executive support. So the big learning there was, yeah, we succeeded because we got a bunch of business, but we completely failed because we didn't read the information that was in front of us, which is, why are we going that direction if we want to go this direction? If we want to go that direction, we need to do it somewhere else. And ultimately we decided to do that. But those kinds of failures you can trick yourself into thinking they're successes. So watch out for that. You can succeed, you can fail your way to success, and that's way more important than succeeding your way to failure. So, yeah.
Awesome. And Tosh?
Thanks, Mike. First, shout out Tanner, Yukon built. My kids, my nieces, my nephews, man, you guys get serious street cred when those guys want your stuff over Adidas or anything else. So way to go, keep it coming. Happy to spend my money local. My biggest advice for failure is, what can you learn from it? I like what you said, Mike, debrief on it. Debrief with your team. Debrief with people you trust for their opinion. I like to surround myself with people who think and see the world differently than I do, because I want their perspectives. I have really strong opinions, so I need other people with really strong opinions to help me understand and dissect what happened, what went wrong. And I firmly believe that you need to spend time in your own head and with your teams debriefing what happened so you can learn from them. I absolutely agree with Mike that failure is going to happen. I tell my team all the time, we're going to step in it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but how strong are we to get past that makes a difference to me. Secondly, on failure, I think if you're leading a team, you have an obligation and also an opportunity to surround yourself and make sure your team is okay to fail. Give them that ability and let them know you're going to catch them, because that's when they're going to be the most innovative. Let them know it's okay to take risks, because if you don't make it and you step in it, you're going to do it as a team, and I'm going to hold them up. Lastly, the thing I think about failureship, or the failures that happen, can you be humble about that? Can you take accountability as the leader? One of my biggest failures was not consulting enough with other teams on a massive project that I was leading. I sat with that for over a year and still learned from that. but I take accountability to it. And it meant walking into rooms and apologizing. It wasn't my team that dropped the ball, it was me. Ultimately, it was me. So that humility becomes really important. And whether that be with potential partners or investors or clients, that humility and that accountability is key, because that's what's going to return them back to clients, friends, partners. If you don't take credit for it and you don't take accountability for it, then you're not being authentic and your integrity becomes in question to me. And lastly, the last thing I'll say about failure is try to have fun with it. You know, laugh at yourself, you know, look back, but be okay with the lessons that you learned. If that takes 6 months, great. If it takes 10 years, it's okay, because those are the things that are going to make you a better entrepreneur. Thanks, Tanner.
Awesome. That's fantastic, Tosh. I don't want Lauren to yell at me, but I'd love to quickly hear from Vicki and Wes. I know we're trying to not go too late, but the feedback here is so amazing that I'd quickly like to open it up to Vicki and Wes for some.
Sure, I'll jump. Tosh, just quickly, did you say the word failureship?
Yeah.
I like it. I think that's like coined by, I love it. Yeah, leadership, failureship. Yes, like many other entrepreneurs, I don't see failure as failure. I mean, I grew up in a family where we experimented all the time. We had this crazy family farm, which is impossible to explain. And we'd be like, what should we do tomorrow for customers? And we go out and build something and it didn't work. And we'd be like, next dinner table, what should we try this time? And it was never, ever framed as failure. It was trying things, experimenting, see what stuck, follow the stuff that sticks, leave the stuff that doesn't. I mean, my dad was like such a crazy dreamer that we would go start putting up a barn. It would be half done. He's like, oh, this one's crooked and it's in the wrong place. Let's take it all down again. And we'd be like, okay. So we take the whole barn down. So I was brought up in an environment where it was just like totally normal to try stuff out. If it didn't work, move on to the next.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would add to this great advice is, you know, look for talent in unexpected places. You know, sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, as people who are starting something and going from ideas, you know, the first natural instinct that we have, and it's understandable, but the first natural instinct that we have is find the people you're close to, right? And build a team around that. And because you know the stuff is hard and you have to move fast and you have to be able to do all the things that entrepreneurs have to do in order to make a product jump or to be able to gain market share quickly, we then generally tend not to look much further than what's within arm's reach, because I need it now. I need this resource. I need this thought. I need this idea. And as entrepreneurs, we have to be, you know, because we know that resources are scarce. You don't have the flexibility and you know, to be able to say, let's just bring on 50 people, and if 20 don't work out, that's okay. Like, we don't have that luxury. But I can tell you this: some of the best hiring decisions that I made, and whether it was my work, you know, running an education enterprise that we built and was eventually venture backed and sold, whether it was the work that we're doing now. Some of the best people I brought around me were people who were not in my orbit and maybe seemed to be a bit of a stretch, and ended up becoming indispensable. Their insights, their perspectives, their visions were things I just didn't have. And things that other people who I could easily just do this, their insights they didn't have. And so I would just say, as you're going through the process of continuing to build, as you're going through the process of thinking about what does that circle look like, you just want to be very intentional and deliberate about being able to expeditiously, but broaden your circle, broaden the inputs, broaden the people you have around you, embrace diversity, and not just we embrace diversity, but embrace it because you know that having these other insights and these other lenses and the way you're thinking about your growth and your market share is going to make you markedly better. And I think that it's something that I've benefited from significantly when I think about my own journey and my own career. And it's something I think I know it's something that I will continue to lean on in everything that I do from this point on.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, everyone, for your answers. I'm just going to quickly pass it to Lauren here before we get to Ben for our final questions. Thanks so much.
Tanner, thank you. Wes is logging off in 4 minutes, folks, because he's got something back to back. So Wes, I want to my closing comments. So if you all saw the pre-video, you'll know that Wes is going to be one of the United States' future presidents, but we'll let him start with governorship first. My family, we're not even placing bets on this because it's such a fact for our family. But after this, I seriously wish that Canadians could vote, because you would get 63, probably 65. There are 2 people on just a minute ago that would have voted for you, brother. Our team has
I love you and adore you. Thank you.
Dude, I love you so much too. But we all do. There's just so many more fans. We have ordered your book. The Work, for each of our businesses, so that they
Oh my gosh.
be with them. Just I hope you come visit soon. I think there'll be 63 people at the airport waiting on you when you get here.
Done and done. Done and done. I would love to. And I'm telling you, I am so grateful. I am so thankful. And honestly, I'm incredibly inspired. So bless you all. And I look forward to staying close and being helpful however I can. Like, you all need to win. Our society needs you to win. And so whatever I can do to be helpful to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes.
Bless
Ben, take her away. Folks, if you can't stay, we'll send a video out. Otherwise, Ben, take her away for our last question. Wes, thank you.
Bless you. Thank you. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks so much, everyone. To conclude, I wanted to pose a question to all of our panelists. We see that as businesses grow, tracking change becomes more and more important. Sales growth, what's leading to your sales, human capital and retention, customer satisfaction, and so much more analysis. How are you seeing the world change right now? And what do you believe are the top 3 trends that you see are critical and that we should keep our eye on as entrepreneurs? Vicki, can we start with you and then move on to Tosh and finally Mike?
Sure. So I think we are at such a pivotal point in humanity. Maybe every generation thinks this, but the old world that we've been living in with this winner takes all, everybody's got to win, is dying. It's over. 5 guys have won. Next. It's most of the business models that we have and everything are just pillaging the planet. Everything that we do just creates more inequality. So I think that we're at this very important sort of fork in the road where we need to rethink where we want to go. And so I'm not much for trends, because there's a ton of trends out there that I think suck and are going to make the world worse. AI being one of them. Thank you very much. So much bias in it. It's really problematic. So I'm being the contrarian to start this whole thing off. And so I think what we need to do is, the top trends are decondition ourselves and stop creating more harm through business, and step back and think about how we can be better citizens. So all of our money resources should be going to high purpose, do no harm, working on the world's to-do list, the most important things that we're facing. I think the second piece is loving our community. We heard people saying, I love you, going off this call today, which is not something that would have happened a decade ago, right? There's people are really coming from the heart, being much more heart-centered, get out of our heads, into our hearts, and embody the kind of future that we want to see, where we're all working together and sharing our resources to benefit everybody. And I think the last piece for me is, and this is more specific to what I am seeing in our community and in other communities that are really about transformation as opposed to winning. I think we're not here to win, we're here to transform, especially at this time. And so part of that is create the enabling conditions for people to thrive. So instead of yet another efficiency module to figure out how you can get more productivity out of your team, it's more how do you create the conditions for people to want to be on your team, to want to do great work, and to thrive. So yeah, I think this is a huge moment for a new kind of leadership that really interrogates deeply how we are operating on this planet if we want to stay on this planet and not have humanity go extinct in the next 50 years.
Thanks for that, Vicki. Very insightful. What do you think, Tosh?
Yeah, I'm going to build off of a bit of what you said there, Vicki, to say I actually think one of the pieces that I love seeing is the trend towards service leadership. A move away from the traditional, hierarchy CEO, it's about profit, to actually how are we making a difference? So that for me, that's about service leadership, and it's a very different type of leader. I'm going to follow that up with one of the things that I'm seeing, and I actually give credit for the reason I'm on this panel, is a move away from the traditional. The non-traditional, I think, approaches. It doesn't matter if you don't have to have the same things you had to have 20 years ago. You don't need a PhD to do research now. You don't have to be a lawyer to get in the courtroom and participate in justice. There's these opportunities for young leaders. I had an opportunity to work with MasterCard Foundation, which is one of the best organizations I've ever had the pleasure and honor of working with. And if you walk into their offices, it's full of 25-year-olds who are incredibly energetic, intelligent people. Some of their biggest positions, their highest positions, are filled by very young, diverse people. And I have a lot of respect for that. I think it used to matter if you were born in Toronto or Vancouver or New York. You didn't have the same opportunities if you were born in a small community and raised in a small community like I was. That's no longer true. This global connected world means that we can reach awesomeness and intelligence at every aspect of our world. And we're better and stronger for that. And for me, the North, we benefit from that, and we're able to make sure that we're contributing to the entire globe as a result of that as well. The other one for me that I see a trend in is empathy. This idea that some of the strongest, most impactful leaders I see are the ones who have the most empathy. It doesn't mean that they necessarily agree with everybody, but they can put themselves in somebody's shoes and they can understand what is motivating that. And we need more of that. And I'm starting to see that in very influential people that are coming up to make those changes. The last thing I'll say about trends is, I think, resilience. COVID shows us that. I come from a long, long line of very resilient people. Yukon First Nations have survived a lot and have come out incredibly strong. There are more of us now than there probably has ever been. And I see that as a trend across this amazing world, this resilience. We will deal with climate change. We will deal with the social oppression issues that are coming. And I truly believe resilience is a big piece of that. Thank you for the question, Benjamin.
Thanks, Tosh. That was amazing. Over to you, Mike.
My number one, actually, Tosh already touched on this, was empathy. We describe it as radical empathy, but if you don't have a reasonable understanding of where the other person's perspective is coming from, then you just simply can't make the right decisions. And it needs to not just be the information coming from them, but the perspective from which they are bringing that information to you. And I think it's so important, and it gets lost. I live in the alternate universe of Silicon Valley, right? So I don't even want to get into the fundraising and the damage that's being caused by my friends in venture capital. Maybe done for not the wrong reasons, but it's still, I very much agree with what Vicki was saying. We're reaching a tipping point on capitalism here. But aside from empathy, there's two other categories that are really foundational to successful ventures that we work with. Transparency is the number one. So we talked before about setting objectives and goals that are either achievable, but a little bit further past your headlights, but doing that with everybody on the same page from an information perspective, and with that perspective built into it, can help everybody make a better decision and execute better going forward. So just having, we talk about radical empathy, we also talk about radical transparency. And then honesty that goes along with that. And the third is just kind of a relentless focus on who your customer is. If your customers are happy, if they're delighted, you will be successful. And you can then drive growth and or expansion or not, depending on how you think you want to do it. But if you can delight your customer, you're going to win.
Thanks so much, Mike. Back to you, Lauren.
Thanks, Ben. Folks, this was it. We're above time. Give me a few more minutes just to, Vicki, thank you. All of you guys bring change maker to just a whole different level. The notes, how inspired people are by the four of you, and Wes isn't with us, but is amazing. And people, we don't get access to, this is only the beginning to play in playgrounds where you guys are partners. So thank you. Tosh, we're so pumped that you are local and a part of our team and in and out of our space. We are about to put your book online as well, folks. Click this if you want more of Tosh in your back pocket. You just a quick download. And Mike from Half Moon Bay, like, dude, you got to come up with Wes. Like, just both of you arrive on the plane at the same time, and we will, and you'll get the same welcome. But thank you. And I'm pumped that we are in contact with you and all these buddies you're talking about in Silicon Valley and Tosh's team and government of Yukon to do even more together up here. So thank you to the three of you from the bottom of my heart, and the 94 other people that knew you guys were here today. And then to everyone, kind of closing thoughts, the Yukon can be the hub of amazing and transformational things in relation to the way that we work, the way that we live. And we consider all of you a part of that possibility. If you wish you'd chimed in, you could have shared a story, an experience, a thought. If you have a connection to make, if you have an idea to share, if you want to mentor, if your name is not on our sponsor wall to allow us to do more of these things for more Yukoners, or if you want to be a speaker, like anything, we want you a part of this excitement that we're doing. Being a partner with our team, you become a part of these group learnings, our international network of change makers. You can participate in the future kind of VIP events and a lot more. So let us know if you want to be part of this village more than you are already a part of it. And then for all of our guests, like, thanks so much for your engagement. I hope that you walk away from this event knowing that you have given the IncubateNorth entrepreneurs a huge gift by being a part of their launch. So thank you. It's a lot of people behind what we're doing. TD Bank, we love you guys. This is like a lot of people built it, but you started with it with funding and to make it actually go live. So thank you. CanNorth, thanks for part of putting a piece of your funding, your core funding into this ridiculous team at the Innovation Entrepreneurship at YukonU. Sheila Rolls, our fear-facing leader, who's the larger of the boss of the larger team at the university. Josh and Andy out front, who so brilliantly coach and advise each of these businesses. And then all of you guys that are here that have helped us build this program, really countless. And then finally, again, Team Gunta, who orchestrated the delivery of this event. Congratulations, Yukon, IncubateNorth businesses. You guys have an amazing Friday. We love you. Bye. Unless anybody has any closing remarks.
Awesome. Thanks, Lauren.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. That was fantastic.
No, Mike, awesome. Thank you so much.